Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all in day 23 of internship program on IoT project development using industry grade microcontroller. Yesterday, we learned how to integrate MIT App Inventor app with the Firebase. We created few applications and sent that data on the real-time database. Also, we created an app to control ESP8266 LED. Using that app, we controlled built-in LED present on ESP8266. So today what we are going to do, we are going to learn about the code behind ESP8266 LED control using MIT Apple. Okay. So today we will learn about the ESP8266 code. So we'll start with that first. What we will do, instead of explaining the pre-written code, we will write the code from the scratch so that we can understand it better. So what we will do, I'll just select from examples, select the demo. From Firebase, you have to select Firebase Arduino, and from there, select this demo file, which is available in examples. So you have to go to first examples. From examples, go to Firebase Arduino and select the demo. We are going to write the code from the scratch. So you can see this. This is the example we already have seen in earlier sessions. This is just a demo session. So what we will do, we will just add the credentials, because this part of from the above void loop, all the part is same for all projects and codes. Okay. So what I will do, I will just copy that from this file. Okay. This credentials. I'll just copy these 4 lines. Control C. And I will paste it here. Control V. And after that, I will keep it all the code inside void setup as it is. And I will then delete this entire code inside the void loop. Okay. So above void loop, for every project, this code is going to be same. So that is the reason I have copied from another file, because these are the credential and configuration related code. Next is what we will do. So first I will discuss the project, what we want to do, and according to that, we will write the code here. So yesterday we created a app using MIT App Inventor. So I will just quickly open that. And using that MIT App Inventor, we wanted to control built-in LED of ESP8266. So what we will do, we want to control ESP8266 LED. So that is the reason we have to define LED first. LED pin. To define a LED pin, use hash define. I will use a variable name as LED and assign D0 to it. After defining, you have to set the mode for that pin, D0 pin, which is going to be output. So set the to set pin mode, you have to use this keyword. I am repeating these basic steps so all can remember this. So just write LED and then output. Okay. Now we can control this pin using this LED variable. Okay. Now I'll just open Firebase also. You can see that this is the application we yesterday built, and using this application we were sending this data LED state and LED off state. Okay. LED on state is true and LED off state was false. Also, we were sending this button check command, and I told you that yesterday we are going to talk about this button check. What is the purpose of this button check? And we have put the true in the both blocks of code. So, what is the reason behind it? Okay, we will understand that also. So, whenever we press this button, the data is going to be updated on real-time database. The data will be in front of this LED state object is going to be true whenever we press this on button. Whenever we press this on button, the data on real-time database is going to be true. And whenever we are going to press this off button, the false data, means the false string is going to be present in front of this LED state object. You can see that data from ESP, we were reading that data. And this LED state, we are overwriting using two buttons, true and false, and this button check. Okay. Now what we want to do? We want to check the LED state, this object, so that we can make a condition, and according to that condition we want to turn on and off LED. Okay. If this LED state is true, we want to turn on the LED. If this state is off, means the false, we want to turn off the LED. So first thing is we have to read this object in ESP8266. To read any object on the data from real-time database, you have to use function as uh, Firebase dot get. So what is the data format here? In which data type we are storing here data? It is string. So we have to write Firebase dot get string. Okay. And inside this get string function, you have to provide the argument. And argument is going to be a string path to this object. Okay. It is in main root file, means there is no branches. It is in the root directory, you can say that. So you just have to give this name as LED state. What I will do, I will just copy this, Control C, and I will paste it here. So this function is going to return whatever data is available in front of this object on real-time database. This true data. If it is false, it will return the false. If it is true, it is going to return as true string in the Arduino. So this function must be assigned to a string variable. So what we will do, we will create a string variable also. String, I will give name as RC underscore data. RC means received data. And I will assign to this function. So this function is going to return whatever data available in front of this object in the real-time database. Whatever data this is, it can be anything. It can be true, false, any number. Depends upon what data we are storing using MIT App Inventor. So that data we are fetching to the ESP8266 and that assigning to a string variable. After that, we want to check. Okay, want to check what is the state. So what we will do, if before going to the condition, we will see on the serial monitor what data we are receiving. Okay, So in what format we are receiving data, so that we can write the required code according to that. The data can be in some other format also. It cannot be just, you can see that it is not in a pure string format. There are slashes, double quotes, slashes. Okay. So there might be chances that we are not going to receive this true as complete pure string. Okay. There can be another characters will come with it. So that is the reason what we will do first, instead of writing the code of condition, we will just print this data on serial monitor just to observe what data we are receiving from Firebase. What I will do, I'll just use serial dot print ln. It is going to print this data to each new line every time we are going to receive data, and put just rc data. I will just give the delay of maybe 3 seconds. Okay, fantastic. We have initialized it. Everything is perfect. First, I will compile it, and then I will connect the ESP86. While it is fire, sorry, it is Firebase. I forgot to give date. Okay, misspelled. I'll compile it again. While it is compiling, we will connect our application with my smartphone. Okay, I already told you that this argument must be in string. Okay, don't forget, put it in string. So that is the error we are receiving. This path from which object we are going to receive data, it must be in string. I will compile it again to check any other errors. Our app is now connected to my smartphone. Maybe you can see it. I'll just reduce the brightness. Is it visible? Okay. So what I will do, you can see the data is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it? Yeah, yes. So I will just change it to 7, 7, 4, 5, and then I will check it. 7, 4, 5. Yes, you can see that the app and Firebase is connected. You can see the 745 data. I just updated here, and it is also updated on our application. Okay, the code is completed. You can see that done compiling. Now I will just upload it. Before uploading, just check for the board. You have selected the correct board and the COM port. Okay. Most of the times, this port is not going to change. Every time we are going to see the same COM port. And from the starting session, we are seeing this COM port as 5. In your case, it is going to be the same. So I will upload this to ESP8266. I will turn on the hotspot of my smartphone. The same credentials that we have written here, which is project and computer 45, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is uploading. Okay, done uploading. We'll check serial monitor. Okay, it is connected. You can see that we are receiving data as true. We will every time we will receive true, because you can see that the data is here is not changing, and we are receiving whatever data is available in front of this LED state variable or the object. Now what I will do from my smartphone, I will just click on the LED off so that we can change this data. I just click LED state and LED off. So data is changed here, false. Now we will check the serial monitor. You can see that the data is changed now. We are receiving false. I'll clear this. Okay, you can see that we are receiving false every 3 seconds because we have put the delay of 3 seconds. Now what I will do, I will just click again on LED on. You can see that now the data we are receiving is true. Now what we want to do, whenever we are clicking on and off, we are getting proper data on real-time database, and we are also receiving the proper data on ESP8266. The only thing which is remaining is to compare this data, and according to that, we have to perform some actions. In our case, we want to turn on and off the LED. So we'll write some code. I'll just disconnect the ESP8266. We go to Arduino. Now we are receiving the data. There is no need to put the serial print to check. So we'll put a condition of if the RC data, the data we are going to receive from Firebase is equals to, okay, we are going to compare it with string. In Arduino IDE, you can directly compare string with another string. Okay. So what was the string? We were receiving the string in double quotes true or in double quotes false. Okay. Uh, there is chances that many of you may misunderstood that the string inside this double quote is the string we are receiving, but that is not the case. We are receiving this entire string including this double quotes also. So we are receiving not only this true only or the false, we are receiving this entire string as a string. Okay, try to understand it. So on serial monitor we are printing whatever data we are receiving. So this is not the string we are receiving. This entire, including this double quotes, the string we are receiving. So while comparing, we have to compare the entire string. So what I will do, I will try to compare it with entire string. So what is the string we are receiving? True and false. So first I will put it in string. To compare any string, you have to put it into double quotes. So inside this double quotes, you have to put again two double quotes because we are receiving this entire string. Okay, and inside that we have to write true or false. TRUE. I'll zoom it a little bit. Again, I will zoom it. You can see here now. The true, you can see here, it is in black color. And whatever string we put in double quotes, it must be in blue color. What is the reason for it? Because it is the compiler is assuming that the string inside these two double quotes is string, which is there is no characters or any string, and inside these two is there is string, and there is no other string because it is taking as two this as a string and these two as another string and this two as a character or a variable. Okay, so it is not taking as a string. So what we can do now here? So just simply to compare, you have to put a double quote and forward slash double quote, and then you can see it is in still black. Okay, it is not considering this slash as string. Then put the string true, then again backslash and double quotes again 2 times. Now you can see that it is in blue color. I hope you are able to see this. So this is how you must compare the string you are receiving from real-time database. So that is the reason I just showed you. You cannot just compare directly. Now, next thing we want to do, I'll just change the font size again. Put the curly brackets and we have to write the code. Now, when the data we are going to receive the true, we want to turn on the LED. So write digital write digital write sorry digital write to write any data on the pin GPIO pin of ESP266. You have to use this function. The first argument is here the LED or the pin number, whatever data you want to write. You have to must write first argument is pin of that pin number of that pin. So in our case it is D0 and we have assigned this to LED. So LED is the first argument. The second is the high or low. So D0 pin is inverted pin. So whenever you are going to write the high, the data or the voltage on that pin is going to be 0. And whenever you are going to write low, that data on that pin is going to be 1 or 5 volts. So to turn on LED, we must write here low as it is an inverted pin. Now another condition. Else if I'll just copy this, Control C, Control V, and instead of true, I'll just make it false. I'll just remove this delay. There is no need to add this delay. I'll just simply copy this also. Do not forget to add the curly brackets. Control and make it just high. Okay. And what we will do, also we will print on serial monitor serial dot print ln that we have turned on the LED in double quotes LED turn on. Just copy this. I'll simply just copy this also. Control C, put it here, Control V, and make it off. Now, whenever we are going to control these data or the object from our application, which is LED state, we are going to receive it here, the void loop from using this function. And then after that receiving data, we are comparing it with the true or false. And depending upon that, we are taking some action, which is writing that pin high or low. Okay, simply what we will do now, compile it. Okay, we forgot to remove this. Now there is no need to put the delay because see here, if okay, every time we are going to receive this true or false because we are not changing it, so we will put delay. Okay, because this loop will run into very fast, so that we are not able to see the data properly. So I'll make it 3 seconds again. We will compile it again. serial or okay, I think used another function. So I'll just sorry p small. I think p small. Sorry, println. Compile it again. Okay, done compiling. We will upload this code to ASP.266. Now what I will do, I will manually just change this data. Let's put some random data because initially we do not want to take any action. So we'll check this. Done compiling. My smartphone hotspot is turned on already. It is connected. Now you can see that we are not printing anything. Just understand this logic. Only if data is true or false, we are printing LED on or off. And real-time database, I just manually change this data true to true TRUE. So what we'll do, I'll just make it parallel. You can see no data changing here. Now what I will do, I will turn first. This is already on ESP8266. You can see on camera. Is it visible? Okay. I will make it off. You can see that LED turned off. We have printed this statement, and it is continuously running and receiving data. LED turned off. LED turned off. What I will do, I will make it turn on. Now it is turned on. I will again make it off. You can see that. Now understand this. I'll just disconnect the ESP8266 first. So whenever we are receiving this data, whenever every time we are updating data using Android application, it is going to be fixed. You can see here. Whenever I click on, I will just click on. This data is not changing, or this data is also not changing. Okay? It is true. In both cases, what is happening in steady state? Even if we do not press any button, it is receiving as true value. Okay, we have not pressed any button on Android application. I just pressed one time. Even though I have pressed one time, still it is receiving as this data from Firebase. So that is the reason we must put this condition for button check to check that we have clicked the button and then we want to read the data. Else we do not want to read this data. Okay, there are two problems with this. So we are tackling two problems using this button check. First is whether we press button or not. If only if we press one time, it is still reading this data. That should not happen. Second is Firebase has limit of data transaction. That means whenever you are reading data, that means you are taking data from Firebase, and whenever you are putting any data into Firebase, so data exchange is limited to 10 GB per month for free subscribers. So whenever you are reading, you don't need to read this data continuously. Okay, you're reading this data continuously in void loop. So we are accessing this object. So means taking data, we are downloading data, exchanging data. So it will consume some data. So without any reason. So it will cost some charges. Okay, if it exceeds the 10 GB. So we want to check only when we are pressing this button. Otherwise, we do not want to receive that data. Okay, only we want to check only if we have received data after pressing the button. So that is the reason we must put this button check condition. Okay, what we will do, we will quickly create this condition. So I will first open this logs and understand. So whenever we are pressing this button, we are setting it as true. True means we have pressed this button. Okay, we are writing at two objects simultaneously using this button. So whenever we press on button, the LED state will be turned to set to true, and button check is also set to true, because to check that we have pressed the button. And in case of turn off, we have made it false, but the button check is still true because we want to check we have pressed this button. Now, so this condition must time to time get set to false, because whenever we are pressing, the only that time we want this as true. So how to make this as false automatically, so that only when we press this button we will read the data. So for that is the reason we will add this condition. So what we will do, we will make another if condition. If in curly bracket, what we will do, we will put this entire code, this starting from here to here, inside that if loop. Okay, now this code inside this if condition. What is the condition? You only want to read this RC data from object LED when we have pressed the button. To do that, first we have to do is read the button state. Control C, Control V, and I will just give name as RC data B as button and change it to button check. Now take this, put it in Control V, equals to, we are comparing RT data B, RC data B, which is button data, to true. Okay, only we want to check this LED state when this button is pressed. So make it TRUE true, and for backward slash double quotes. Okay, we don't need for false condition because we do not want to do anything while the condition or the button is not pressed. Okay, we are only running the inside code this if loop when we have pressed this button. Now whenever we will receive this true, it will enter into this if loop and it will execute this line first. Then it will check whether LED we have received the true condition or the false condition, and according to that it will run the following code. So whether it is true or false, it is going to run these lines of codes. What we want to do, after executing these lines of code, we again want to set this button check to false, because operation has completed now. We have pressed the button, LED turned off or on condition has successfully operated. Okay, now what we want to do, we want to make the button as turned off. Okay, means we have not pressed the condition. So to do that, just use Firebase dot set string and give first argument as path. Okay, to what path? This path, button check. We will write some random data, control C. We'll just make it control V, and here we want to write as false. Same thing we will do with here also, control C, control. Now let's understand. I will just remove this delay now. We do not need this delay now. So we'll start with the beginning. So first thing we are checking that we are receiving this button check object from real-time database. So whenever we are going to press this button on, whether it is on or off, it is going to set true, button check to true every time. And the LED state according to button we have pressed. So whenever we press this button, this button check is going to be always true. And when there is no button pressed, we want this as false. Okay, so that's provision we have just created. So first thing we are doing is reading this button check, and if it is true, that means we have pressed the button, then we are reading the data, this object, this LED state, then only we are reading it. Okay, then if it is true, then we are turning on the LED on, and we're just printing LED turn on. And after that, very important part, after completion of this operation we wanted to do, which is LED on and off, we are setting this button check to false. That means after clicking button, we are performing some operations and we are again setting it to false. That means we have not pressed any button. So that is the reason we have created this provision, button check to false. And same thing we have done here. Now what I will do, I'll just compile it again to check if there are any errors. Okay, it is compilation is successful. We'll upload this to ESP8266. Mobile hotspot is already on. It is 100%. We'll just open the serial monitor now. Okay, it is connected to my our hotspot. The first time we should not get this LED turn on. We got this data from ESP8266. That means we entered into this condition. So we'll check that first. Okay. So initially this was true. That is the reason we entered into if loop first. Now it is off. So what I will do, I will just reset the ESP8266 to check whether we still get the this we receive any data or not. Okay, I'll just reset ESP8266. It is now connecting. Okay, it is connected. Now we are not receiving any data from real-time database because the button check condition is false now. Data on button check is false. Now what I will do, I will press a button. Okay, what I will do, I will press a button. Now the LED state is on. I'll make it off. You can see that. Now this is, you can, for first few seconds it was true. Now it is again false. And our operation has completed. LED turned off. You can see that here also ESP8266. I will make a few operations again, and then we will discuss it. I will make it turn on. You can see that initially it gets true button check, and after that it will get false. Even though now LED state is true, we are not receiving that data continuously. Check it. Now it is on. I will make it off. You can see it. I will make it again on. So that is how you can do it. With any application you create using MIT App Inventor, it can be Android Studio also. Just check that you have pressed the button and then only you can read the data. Otherwise, you are wasting the data by continuously reading data from Firebase. I will close this. And after this, very important part. Yesterday, what we did, we compared, we controlled the ESP8266 LED with using MIT App Inventor application we built. Now, what we will do, there was another operation we saw that we are receiving data from the Firebase. That means that we were receiving data from ESP8266 and we were observing that data in front of ESP data variable. Okay, so we did the first half to control ESP8266 using this application, using these buttons. Now, second half, we want to integrate in same code. How we can do the same thing in this code. So first thing we want to do is we have to check that we are receiving any data from microcontroller serially. So first thing to do is check that we are receiving data. First thing to do, if put the if condition and if condition, check that we are receiving data serially. So serial dot available. We are checking the data is available or not serially. It must be greater than 0. Then only we can say that we are receiving data serially from microcontroller to ESP8266. Else we are not receiving, there is no data available in the buffer register of ESP8266. Now what we will do? We are going to read this data. How we can read this data? First we have to define a string Rx data. I will say as Rx data. In case of Firebase, we receive data, we give variable name as RC data. In case of serial communication, we will give name as Rx data. And what I will do, serial dot read string. Okay. What I will do, whatever the data available in the variable, buffer register of ESP8266 is, it will be converted into string, and this serial dot read string will return this string, and we are storing it into Rx data variable. Next thing is we want to send this data to the Firebase. So to send this data to Firebase, use Firebase dot set string, because we are setting the sending this data type as string, so it must be in string. If it is integer, you must put as int or float respectively. First argument, path, to which path you want to store the data. So first argument is path. You can see that in MIT App Inventor. In MIT App Inventor, you can see that we are reading from data from ESP. So you must give this as argument. Control C. I will just copy it here. You can copy from here also. Just you see that whatever object you have using here in MIT App Inventor, else you will not be able to receive the data at application end, because any uppercase, lowercase change also can make this entire application fail, because you will not be able to receive any data from Firebase if you have not put the object correctly. So make sure that every character and every name you have typed correctly. Okay? Just I will so that I will just copy it from here. Control C. Simply you can copy from here also. I will put it here. It must be in string. So in double quotes, put this Control V. If you are creating parent and child structure or JSON structure you must add forward slashes, and according to your structure, you must create the objects here also. Now data we want to put is rx data underscore data. Okay, fantastic. And after that, what we will do? If the data is available, only then we are running this. Now this code is also finished. So whenever we are receiving any data serially into ESP8266, it will return some positive integer, so that we are entering into this if condition after receiving the data. And receiving data, we are storing that received data from buffer register to rx data variable, string variable, and same variable we are putting into real-time database, so we can observe that data into Android application. This data serially you are receiving, it can be anything. It can be numbers, it can be sensor data, it can be credentials from microcontroller memory. So we just generally assume that it is some sort of data, and we will put that data into Firebase. It depends upon each and every project you are doing. It may vary project to project also. So this is completed. We will just first compile it. So we will understand the logic. Okay, we understood this logic. First, we are checking the button. Then we are reading the button state, and according to that, we are making operations using this code. And after that operation is completed, we are setting this button check to false again, so that we can next time whenever we are pressing, we can make it true and understand that we have pressed the button. The same with this else if condition, false condition. And after exiting the entire if loop, this if loop, this if loop is finished here. Outside this if condition, we have put this condition. We do not want to make this code inside this if condition, because these two things will be must be separated or isolated, because sending and receiving must be two things isolated from each other. It should not be depending upon each other. Okay, whether you are receiving or not data, it doesn't matter. If you are receiving data serially, you must put that data on the cloud. So that is the reason we have not put this if condition inside this first if condition. This, so we have isolated two blocks of code. I will just make some separation, add some comments. Okay, compilation is done. What we will do, we will load this code to ESP8266. Just check the component code. Perfect. Now, after if everything works perfectly, what we will do? Then 2 days before in the session, we saw that how to we were receiving some random numbers 462 serially. I will just open that code also, and what we will do? I will connect ESP8266 with the microcontroller now, and we will observe the real-time data changes, and we will send the command from application also, command from Android application to ESP8266 to control the LED. And from ESP8266, we are receiving data to Android application. So simultaneously, we are exchanging data, and we are observing it in real time. So we have uploaded it. I'll just check it, serial monitor. I'll reset it. I think we missed the connecting part. Okay, it is connected. The first thing to do is, I think MIT App Inventor has disconnected. We will just connect it again. See, it was disconnected. Now it is connected. First thing we will do, we'll check the parallelly. Everything is working fine. The two ports are isolated properly. You can see here also already. I'm making it now. It is on. I will make it off. You can see that LED has turned off now. I'll make it on. Now what I will do, this operation is working perfectly now. The next thing is we will receive data from ESP8266 to Android application. Now you can see that here, this ESP data from ESP is 745. What we will do, we will send some data serially. So I'll make it 56548 and hit enter. After hitting enter, we are receiving it in buffer register. We are sending into Firebase here to the data from ESP. When this field will change, automatically data here, ESP data will change. So I will make it hit enter and we'll check. Is it changed? Yes, you can see that. Is it visible? Yes. We will send some other data also. 5846. 5846. It can be a string also. I will just send hello. Data can be anything. I already have discussed. Is it visible? Yes, you can see the hello. Now I will change the number of characters. 7, 8. I'll put just 7, 8. As for example, we are performing the non-conductive liquid measurement project. So we are receiving the percentage as 2 bytes, 2 characters, and 70%. I will hit enter. We'll see that. Yes, it is 78. Now you just have to add percentage sign manually. I will show you how you can do that also. We will make some other changes also. I will just put IoT program and I will hit enter. You can see that IoT program. Okay, there is no space remaining. That is the reason we have not printed program. We can make it to next line also manually. We can make that provision. I will give some numbers 4, 5, 6 and hit enter. You can see that 4, 5, 6. So now we are transmitting and receiving data from application. We are receiving data from ESP8266 also, and parallelly we can send the data also. Now LED is on. I will make it off. You can see that. I will make it on. Okay, so there is no wastage of data. Okay, only we are checking the condition or the command whenever we are receiving that we have pressed the button condition. So that condition was very important. Also, we are receiving simultaneously data from ESP8266 also. I will make it 789 and we will see that also. And see on 789. Hope you have understood. Now, I will discuss few things first about the MIT App Inventor and the security with the Firebase. So this is the same code. What we will do, we will understand some security related things here. You can see that what I will do, I will remove this. I will just keep this Firebase URL and this token where we were putting database secrets. I will make it empty. Okay. And what I will do, I will refresh this page. Click on the Firebase again. You can see that there is some random string. This is not equals to database secrets. We will quickly compare it. It is very important. Please watch it carefully. Database secrets, you can see that. So our secret start with HA4KI. You can see here EYJ0. It is some random string. I already removed and refreshed. So put some random string here. Now what I will do, I have refreshed. I will connect it again. I'll make it cancel. We have not put any Firebase data secrets here, database secrets here, and still we are installing this application to see whether we are able to interact with the Firebase or not. Okay. Now what I will do, I will make this as it is LED state is true. I will click on the off. You can see that we are still able to interact with the real-time database, even though we have not put database secrets. You can see that. So anyone, if they have this URL, they can control our real-time database. They have access to our real-time database. So how can we avoid it? So anyone cannot have the access to our real-time database. If they have this URL, they can access your real-time database. You can see that we have not put any Firebase token here. We just put this Firebase URL. And still we are able to interact with the Firebase. You can see that this false. I can make it on also. I can change this string manually, and you can see that changes here also. 4589. Okay. So it is very important. See here in rules, you can see here read write is equals to true and true. That means whether you have this database secrets or not with you, you are still able to write the data or the read data from the real-time database if only you have this URL. So what this rule represents, it doesn't matter you have database secret key with you, you will still be able to access the real-time database. You can be able to interact with it. You can be able to read and write data from real-time database. If these conditions are true and true. So to make it secure, what you can do, you can just make it false. And again, make it false and publish it. Okay. Now we have published these rules. Now we will try to make the changes again. What I will do, I'll make the LED on. I'll make the LED off. I'm pressing the button. You can see the error. Firebase error, permission denied. You can see here. Is it visible? Because we changed the rules, security rules. Okay. Now we do not have database secrets with us. That is the reason we got that error. Okay, you can see the error. Permission denied. Now what we will do, we will keep the same rules. The only thing we are going to change, we are going to add this database secrets in our app. Control V. I will refresh it again. We'll just check that we have. Okay, it is HA4K. Yes, it is database secret key. Now I will just again connect with AI Companion. Okay, application has connected to platform. Now we will check whether we are able to interact with the database secret, real-time database or not. So initially when the app started, we did not got any error permission denied. It is true. I will make it off. You can see that it is now changing. It is true. I'm pressing off as false. Okay, we'll check rules. It is still false. We have published this security rules. Okay, so anyone, even if they have this URL, database URL, they will not be able to access your database. only if they have this URL. If they have your database secret also with them, then only they can be able to interact with your database secret. So you always remember this to make your application or any project secure, more secure. It is not that secure, but still you must make it false false. If I make it true true again, and even if I remove this database secret, you can still be able to access the real-time database. So that was the reason I showed this rules section today, how you can make your application or project secure. Because in the Arduino code for the ESP266, we have this authorization key H4K, this database secret key. So it is secure from ESP266 and from Android side also. So every time just check that what are the rules you are playing with. Okay, it must be false false. Thank you. So before ending today's session, what we will do, we will just check what we are going to do tomorrow onwards. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to start with the Android Studio because we have completed the part from MIT App Inventor. We created, we exchanged data from Firebase, we sent, we received data, we observed all the operations in real time. So same things we are going to do in the Android Studio. We are going to make user interface. We are going to write the backend in Java. We are not going to use Kotlin language. So tomorrow we are going to do that. So there are limitations with the MIT App Inventor. First, I will just talk few limitations of MIT App Inventor, that you are not that flexible with the user interface. You just have to drag and drop the available features and functions. You cannot recreate the uh, design for the button. You just have to select this button. You can just make changes in the color of that button. There is no other flexibility. You cannot redesign the button. You cannot redesign this checkbox. Okay? So there is very less flexibility with the user interface. Second thing, in experimental, the real-time database to interact with the IoT, there is only Firebase available in the experimental. Suppose in case you want to interact with the real-time in real time with the AWS IoT, Amazon Web Services IoT, in that case, you are not able to integrate this application with the AWS IoT. In that case, you must use Android Studio. Okay, that is also limitation. Also, in Project Bucket yesterday, we saw that we are only able to operate in the lowest level available. Okay, we cannot operate in multiple levels of roots or the branches of this JSON format in the application. We must operate at the lowest level. But in the Android Studio, you can overcome this limitation. You can access any level at any point. So user interface, the cloud connectivity, and the data structure access, you can have flexibility whatever you want with the Android Studio. So that is the reason. And also we have to conduct the sessions on AWS IoT. So we must make learn to create application using Android Studio. The first thing we are going to do, we will create some. We will talk about how we can create the user interface using Android Studio. I will just go to Android Studio website, official website. From here, you can just download the Android. You can see here latest version is available. It is freely available. You can just install it. And if you want to go through user guide, they have given the step by step how to install it, how to migrate, everything they have given. You can simply read it, go through it. All the tools and everything available they have discussed in the user guide. So tomorrow we are going to discuss it, how we can create the user interface. Then we will talk about the backend also, the various tools, the ABD. ABD means the virtual emulator available in the Android Studio, how we can run the application in that emulator. We are going to talk, we will just introduce in a few minutes tomorrow. They will start with the creation of user interface. What are the tools available? Which types of layouts are available? Constraint layout, linear layout, relational layout. Okay, we will talk about that, and we will create the layout. So whatever operations we have performed with the MIT App Inventor, the same things we are going to do in Android Studio, but in some advanced level. Okay, so there are going to be some flexibility with the user interface and all with the back end also. So tomorrow, if you want to do practically, you must install this Android Studio from official site. You can just download from download section. So that's it. So tomorrow we will start with the Android Studio. I will declare that today's session is over and forum is open for question and answer. Small p, yes, small p, yes. Why digital you are making low to glow LED? Uh, there is question why digital right you are making low to glow the LED. You can see here. So whenever we are receiving data true means we want to make LED turn on, we are making this pin as low means we are writing zero data. But this pin D0 pin is inverted. Whenever we are writing zero data, it will turn on. And whenever we are writing the on data means the one data, it will turn off. Okay. It is opposite to what data we are writing. That is why we are making it low. But you are reading button state continuously. Yes, we are reading. See, uh, here there is one question. Already talked that said that to do not waste data, we are reading that we have pressed the button or not. Only then we want to read the data. If in case we just have two buttons or the two states, there are multiple buttons. Okay, so we are writing. There are multiple objects also. LED state, data, some random data also there are present. So every time in whenever we are pressing button, we are checking for only this object we have pressed. We are not going for the LED state or any other user data. So there can be chance of having multiple data objects in the application. So continuously reading those all the section, instead of that, just check continuously we have pressed any button and then read the sections available. If you are not pressed, why to read all the objects? That is the reason. How to launch the app in Play Store such that everyone can download. You have to create a account on the Play Store. You have to pay the fees also. So then afterwards they will check your application for virus and malwares, and you are ready to go. You can put it. There are so many videos available. How can you put your application in Play Store? You can just simply watch a simple one video available on YouTube. You can do it. No big thing. Sir, kindly send code of project IoT based non-conductive liquid level. Yes, we are going to do that. We are going to integrate everything non-conducting liquid level monitoring. We are going to receive that data into ESP266, and then we are going to send that data into Firebase, and we are going to read that data into Android application and vice versa. We are also going to send the commands. We'll share that. Can we add and feature that we can change Wi-Fi of ESP266 using app? Speaking of that, we can actually do that. You can see in here code. I did not have performed this operation just you told. You can receive the arguments. You have to write a function as reset Wi-Fi credential, and in that function, what you should do, you read. You must create first a object Wi-Fi SSID, Wi-Fi password, and you set that Wi-Fi SSID password from Android application. Okay, whatever the user input you are given, you set that here, and from there you create a button also to reset it. Okay, then receive this credentials in the while loop. Okay, create function for reset Wi-Fi and read this SSID and credential and just override it. Okay, call this function disconnect. There are function available Wi-Fi dot disconnect. As it is, there is, you can see that Wi-Fi dot disconnect. You can simply call the function Wi-Fi dot disconnect and then begin with the new credentials available. Sir, how to notified when LED on or off in the application? Simply, the question is here. You can see, sir, how to notify when LED is turned off? Whenever we are turning off and off LED, what we can do? We can set here another Firebase set string, Control C. I will make it Control V again here, and make it LED status or LED position. Pose. I will just write POS, and we are writing as true means we have made on. So I will make it true. What you have to do? You just have to read this object in your application. TRUE. Okay. Now this will create an object on real-time database as LED pose. In your Android, sorry, in MI Type Inventor, what you have to do? You just have to duplicate this code and make it this as LED pose. You can copy it. Simply put it here. Okay. Now we do not want to set this. You want to get notified. So use notifier. Go to designer. Select this notifier. Go to blocks again. Select notifier and get this show.alert. But what you can do in this if condition, put another condition. I'll just make it if. Okay. Now, if the condition we have received is true, we'll compare it. Get value we have received as true in string TRUE. Then what you want to do? You want to notify as LED turn on. Simple. Same you can do with the off condition. For off condition, you just have to write false. Finish. You will every time you will get notified when you're turning on or off LED. Sir, the recorded session link which you shared cannot download these videos. Please do need this recorded sessions video will important for future also. So as it is an intellectual property, we cannot make it downloadable. So that is the reason we have given only access for viewing. So after internship program finishes, you are still able to watch these videos for 2 months. Okay, you can complete this entire 30 days course. Again, you can watch many times as you want, but you cannot download it. So we are giving access for 2 months. That's why we have created this 2 months period. Can we make the ESP to use it from different network? I did not understand your question. Manish Zadav, can you please elaborate your question? Then I will answer it. Can we make this ESP to use it from different? Please elaborate your question, please, Manish. Yes, already I have answered this question. We can do that. I have not performed this operation before, but how we can do it, I will just explain it again. You send the user input as SSID and password. You store here create object SSID, Wi-Fi SSID and password. using MIT App Inventor. You give user input as SSID and password, whatever you want to set. And after that, what you do, go to ESP8266 and in while loop, check for this Wi-Fi reset button click. Whenever you are pressing that button, Wi-Fi reset, it will, if it is true, read that object, which is SSID and password, and assign it to Wi-Fi SSID and Wi-Fi SSID, or simply call this, first call Wi-Fi dot disconnect function, and then after reading, you assign it to, or you can just simply put the arguments as Wi-Fi dot begin. You can do that. Is your IoT development board cheap with respect to other available outside? Yes. Yes, it is cheap. You can just go on to Amazon or Flipkart. You can check the other development boards available. Their prices are too much high with respect to prices we are making you available for. We have to keep the ESP module into same network, right? By keeping the SSID and password. Means you are assuming that we must Android application and the mobile hotspot on the same network. It is not necessary. Your ESP8266 can connect to any network available which has internet access. And your application or the smartphone can be connected to your cellular data or the Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter. Both the devices can operate from different networks. And if your question is if other networks has if same SSID and password, still ESP8266 can connect to it, then yes, answer is yes. It can connect with the same SSID and password. Yes, yeah, yes, sure. Sir, can we use 0 or 1 instead of true or false in integer format? We'll just simply do that and we'll check it. I have not used zeros and 1. I already used true and false for the Boolean data. So where is, it, it will work. I think it will work. I'll make it 1 and 0. While it is compiling and uploading, if any other participant has questions, please write into chat box. I will not connect application. We will change the data manually from real-time database and check here. It is connected. Okay, I think it worked, right? What we will do? Just make this as first. I'll make this is true. And then I'll make it true. Okay, it did not work. Sorry, I have to put in this format. Let's see. Yes, it works with the 0 and 1. Can we use 0 and 1 instead of true and false in integer format? Firebase also, yes, you can use. You just have to compare with the integer in real MI Inventor. How we save data in Firebase for future use. There are two methods you can do it. There is one application or the project. You can store data in spreadsheet, an Excel file. I will provide the references for that. And there is another feature of Firebase, which is Firestore database. But to in, integrate real-time database and Firestore database, you must use this functions operations. And to use functions, you must upgrade your database, real-time database or to Firebase to the paid version. So you have to pay some money for that reason. And there are resources available. The code snippet you have to just put and publish it. Then your real-time database will get connected with the Firestore database, and they can exchange the data. Not exchange, it will store data in Firestore. You can retrieve the data also. So there are two methods you can do it. And if you want current data of a real-time database, not previous data, you can simply just download the JSON format, export JSON. Okay. So whatever data currently available, that only you can export it, not previous data. Any other questions? Else I will end today's meeting. If there are any other questions, please write into chat box. Else we will end today's meeting. Is there is limit to use Firebase in different application? No, you can use it. You can integrate this database with the or this project with Android Studio application you have built. You can connect with the MIT App Inventor. You can create multiple apps using MIT App Inventor. You can put the same URL and the same database secret also. No problem. You can access it. Two is there is limit. Arbitrary there is no limit, but there has to be some number. Okay, they have not given any number as in documentation provided by the Firebase, but there has to be. But arbitrary you can connect as many application with this real-time database. Okay, so I think questions are over. I will end today's meeting. Thank you everyone.